Okay, sounds
Now
good.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, sounds good. All
Yeah.
right. Should the state be abolished? That's a debate topic. Um, Opening statements could be at least what 6 or 7 minutes or less. We could start with Sithis first, or yeah, we could. Yeah, let's go with Sithis first and then Warmish. Yeah. All right.
All right. My name is KingSithis. I am an anarcho-capitalist. I believe that we should abolish the state, absolutely, and replace it with private property anarchy or Ancapistan or something like that. And the main reason why that is because as a libertarianism is based off of the non-aggression principle. We believe very strongly in the NAP. The non-aggression principle is one does not have the right to initiate an aggression. An aggression is the initiation of a dispute over scarce means, or an initiation of a conflict. For example, that's like if you are the owner of, say, like an apple, and you want to eat that apple, and then I slap that apple out of your hand and I take it from you. What I have done is I've initiated an aggression over your body. I have basically forcefully taken that apple without your consent. So because of that, any form of non-consensual taking of another person's private property, which is theft, would be a violation of the non-aggression principle. And also, because of our ideology is pretty much based on consent and ownership, basically, because scarce resources are a fact of reality, we have no choice but to allocate those scarce resources. And we believe the best way to do that is through property rights, private property rights, and it should be based on consensual transaction, or through voluntary transaction, I should say, or what you call mixing your labor with the land. Those are two ways in which you can obtain private property consensually without violating the consent of another person. And it also is that you own your body, because your body is a scarce resource. So because of that, the question arises is who ought to have the right to that scarce resource. If you are allowed to exclude other people from that scarce resource, which is ownership is the right to use or exclude or direct the use of a scarce resource. And because you are permanently attached to your body, you are your body. And for another person to use your body without your consent, they would be violating your consent, the non-aggression principle. So it must be that you have the best link to that property, which means that you are the owner of your own body. So because of that, the reason why we believe that the state should be abolished is because no matter how you put it, the state violates private property rights by unconsensually, forcefully taking the private property of individuals. We have no choice in the matter. It's unconsensual. So because of that, it violates the non-aggression principle. And that's the main reason why we do not support the state, because it's a unconsensual taking of another person's property, which through taxation. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you for that opening statement. Warmish, it's now your turn. I don't know. You could be like from 1 minute to 5 minutes. I don't care. And then I think after that we could do like an open discussion back and forth, like open conversation. Yeah. All right, you can go ahead.
Let's start with the definition by Investopedia of capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system in which private individuals or businesses own capital goods. At the same time, business owners employ workers who receive only wages. Labor doesn't own the means of the production, but instead uses them on the behalf of the owners of capital. Right? So I am a, let's say, social democrat / market socialist, and I disagree with anarcho-capitalism on the basis of having no state. Because I argue from a social contract / consequentialist belief on this, I ought that there should be a state. So that's one. Number two, but most importantly, I do not think an anarcho system, especially anarcho-capitalism, but it also goes for anarcho-communism, can do good. I think it's a heavily destabilized view of an economy and a destabilized view on people. And lastly, the NAP, in my opinion, may hold certain truths within it, right? You know, it has the idea that you don't attack unless someone else attacks. It's consensual, all of that. That might be fine. I'm willing to be okay with that sentiment. My main problem is, well, throughout history and throughout political theory and throughout political history, there's been many groups of people who have unconsensually went in and taken over land. We can look to the Persians, we can look to the ancient Greeks, ancient Romans, the Soviet Union, the United States, Germany, Japan. We can look through so many history, and we have seen that throughout time and time again, people were declared this is my land or this is my state, and then that state gets taken over. I believe the way you stop this is by not only having a fortified state, but through the social contract that helps protect that land. That's it.
Okay, thank you for the opening statement, Warmish. We can now open it up for back and forth discussion. We can, bring it back to Sithis now. Sithis, you can say whatever you want, or you could offer rebuttal or questioning or what have you.
Yeah, I guess my only question is, do you own your body?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I can do what the fuck I want
ownership,
to, yeah.
And what I mean by ownership is you have the right to exclude others from your body when you have not initiated an aggression against other people.
I would disagree with you on the definition of the state. The state does not control your body.
I didn't say anything about a state. I'm just trying to figure out whether you agree on whether or not you have the right to exclude other people.
No, I disagree with that definition.
So you don't have the right to exclude other people from your body when you have not initiated an aggression against other people?
No, because people can go ahead and inherently just take that over.
Well, this isn't a whether or not people have the ability to. This is about whether people ought to have the right to use your body without your consent when you have not initiated an aggression.
Oh, people shouldn't, but people are going to do that anyways.
Well, that's might makes right, and I'm sure we both disagree with that, correct?
I would agree.
Okay, so
on that.
We're talking about how man ought to act because, right?
Well, again, that's how men ought to act, but men don't ought to do that, do they?
Well, men are able to control their the actions in which they commit. So because of the actions, because we are able to control the actions that we commit, the question arises is how man ought act. And my question to you is, would it be a violation for another person to use your body without your consent when you have not initiated an aggression?
Again, and this is going to fall into why are you trying to build that up?
I need an answer to that question.
Because what are you leading it up into? Like, I understand the question, but I'm trying to understand why
So
are you leading?
it's either
What are you leading it up
do own
into?
your body, you have the right to exclude others from your body when you have not initiated an aggression, or you don't.
I mean, you can exclude people. I'd say that's kind of
I'm not talking about whether we can or we have the ability or not the ability. I'm talking about whether you ought. Do you have the right? And a right is an action that ought not be impeded. Something. So, for instance, if you are using your body and somebody says you are not allowed to use your body to do this specific thing, they are saying you do not have the right to use your body.
Both. I would argue both.
So you don't have the right to use your body?
I would argue both. I would argue both.
That's a contradiction.
It's both. That's not a contradiction.
You either have the right to use your body, or you do not.
You have the right to use your body until there are certain actions that are not morally reprehensible or passable.
When you have not initiated an aggression.
Doesn't have to be an aggression. Could be something completely different. You could say, I'm going to eat a human being, but we find that morally reprehensible no matter what.
So you don't have the right to exclude others from your body so long as society sees or somebody sees you do something that they consider to be disgusting?
To an extent, yes. I would argue Kantian ethics on this. So yes.
So if society
you might be able to do that, but should everyone be allowed to do that? I would disagree.
That's my question. How about we throw out the whole thing about whether or not somebody has the ability to do that? I'm sure we can both agree that people have the ability to violate people's rights, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's throw that out. Anytime that I ask you a question from here on out, I don't want to hear, oh, well, people have the ability to do that. Yes, we both agree on that. It's about whether people have the right to do that.
So, I mean, it depends on the situation. I mean,
does society have the right to exclude you from your body or use your body without your consent if you do something in which they consider to be unsavory or disgusting?
Well, this is where we inherently disagree because you believe the state does that, and I disagree with that. Let's just cut to the chase.
No. We can't move forward unless you explain. We can't even move forward if you can't even answer the simple question.
I did answer it.
Okay, so yes.
I mean, again, you're going to use
so remind me the answer. Was it yes or was it no? Was it yes or was it no?
I said it depends.
So it's yes?
It depends.
What does it depend on?
It depends on the given situation. It depends on what's going on. Again, life isn't completely black or white. You also have grays in the middle, and this is an example of it.
Yeah, so give me an example of where society can stop you from or violate or exclude you from your body or exclude the use of your body when you have not initiated an aggression.
I'd say voting is an example. If you don't want to allow certain people to be able to vote, I would say that's an example of it being morally acceptable to do that.
Well, if you're initiating an aggression against another person, yes, people could stop you. But I'm talking about a situation where someone is not initiating an aggression.
I just gave you voting.
So voting is initiating an aggression?
I'm not saying it's based off aggression. You keep using NAP when I'm not arguing from NAP. I'm using it from a completely different
question. Is point. Voting violate?
No, because you keep using NAP. Let's just cut. I'm saying cut to the actual chase about you disagreeing with the state.
Okay,
because we fundamentally disagree here.
So you haven't really answered the question.
I have.
When is it okay for another person to initiate an aggression against another person?
I just told you it depends on the situation.
Yeah, so give me an example.
For example,
give me an example.
So killing, rape.
Yeah, when you have not initiated an aggression. Crime. When you have not initiated an aggression. When is it okay for another person to attack you, use your body without your consent when you have not initiated an aggression? When is it okay? Give me an example.
Committing tax fraud.
So you're saying committing tax fraud. Whose rights are you violating?
Under this, you're not really violating anyone's.
Okay, so then you're not. An example yeah, so you're not initiating an aggression.
I disagree with this.
I need an example of. I've asked you a very clear question. When is it okay to violate another person's property right in themselves when they have not initiated an aggression? That means you violating another person's consent when they also have not violated another person's consent.
Define consent.
Consent is using another consent is basically the ability to exclude others from your body or the property in which you own.
Would you say the state is giving you consent? Yes or no?
No, they violate your consent.
And how do they violate it?
Because they unconsensually take the private property rights of individuals who have not initiated the aggressions against others.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay, so then you do think it's okay to violate people's property rights or violate their consent when they have not initiated an aggression against others?
Yes.
Okay, so in the end of the day, the issue with that is when you use your body, you're saying that you ought have the right to use your body. That basically saying, I have the property right within my body. Because if you didn't have the right to use your body, you wouldn't use it. So whenever you use your body, you're saying, I have the right to use my body. I am claiming ownership over my body. But then you're saying, I ought to have the right, people ought to have the right to control their bodies. But then at the same time, you're saying people shouldn't have the right to control their bodies. Because you're saying when you attack another person and use their body without their consent, when you use their body, when you use their body without their consent, you're also saying at the same time, well, you are not allowed to use your body without my consent. But it's just like, wait a minute, you're allowed to use your body with your consent, but that person is also not. So it's either people are allowed to use their bodies or they are not. It must be
Again,
one
I'm
or the
arguing
other.
again, if you remember what I said in my first statement, I'm arguing this from a social contract perspective. So again, I'm arguing that some people give up their rights so we live in a civilized society, something that I don't think Ancapistan would allow.
Can consent be withdrawn?
Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt, guys,
yes, the social contract actually believes in that.
but wait, hold
Okay,
on.
so-
Hold on, wait, hold on, hold on,
Tom
wait, wait,
Slouts
hold on, wait,
argues.
wait. I'm gonna get going now. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care, guys.
Yep, no problem.
Zeus and Patrick got it. All right, goodbye.
Yeah, Hobbes argues in favor of that. Yes.
What if I don't explicitly consent to the social contract?
Then leave. Or create a movement that wants you to change certain laws.
So if you're in your own property and a robber were to break into your property, and pull a gun on you and say, "This is now my house, belongs to me," should my response to that aggression be, "Well, why don't you just leave?"
Why are you using the most extreme examples here?
Well,
Notice
because
you have to keep.
what
No,
you're
no, no, no.
doing is
Notice you have to keep. No, again, if you notice,
you ask me a question and you're not
you-
allowing me to answer it.
No, because you keep using the most extreme examples. Just use a normal example.
I mean, robberies don't happen.
You used robbery. You keep using the NA. You
Is
keep using the NAP
taxation is
principle.
robbery.
It's not robbery.
Okay,
You're
and
getting
I'm
money.
explaining
Okay,
why.
so
Wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait, don't avoid the hypothetical. Don't avoid the hypothetical.
no, I'm
Yes,
not,
you
I'm
are.
not, I'm not.
No, you are.
No, I'm not.
Now let
No,
me ask.
I'm not. I'm gonna bring
A
up.
moderator?
Bring up.
She keeps
I'm gonna
interrupting
bring
me.
up. I am not.
Yes, you are, because you're not allowing me to finish the hypothetical. So, the hypothetical is somebody came into your house, they have a gun, they're saying this is now my house. Do you have the right to exclude that other person from your house? Should society's reaction to that aggression be, why don't you just leave?
Yeah, you could do that.
So you saying that that's the appropriate
You could
action
do that,
for
yeah.
that?
Yeah, you could do that.
I could.
You could
Remember
do
what
that,
I told
yes.
you earlier? Did you forget what I told you earlier about
No,
whether
I did.
we
I
both
just disagree
agree?
with
We
the
both
NAP
agree. We
principle
both have
here.
the ability.
I just-
What are we
no, I
talking
just
about? Did you
disagree with
forget
NAP
about?
principle.
Did we forget? Did you forget about the earlier thing that we both agreed that we were not going to do anymore? Which was
What?
obviously we're not talking about whether or not somebody has the ability to do
No,
it.
but you keep
We're
using
talking
the
about
NAP
whether
principle.
somebody ought have the right to do that, right? Right.
I mean, you have the right to
Right.
tell somebody.
Does-
No, hold on. You have the right to tell someone leave the property. You do have a
Okay,
right, and as a
so,
landlord, you have the
yes.
right to kick someone
Yes.
out of their
Okay.
land.
Okay.
So, yes.
Thank you for answering the question. So, if you are on your own property, you are not violating the consent of another person. No one has the right to tell you to get out of your property. That would be a violation
No,
of your
yes,
consent.
you do.
Right? Yes, they do.
No, because that land comes from the state. So the state has the right to kick you
How
out of
could-
that land.
Who is the state?
The state's the government.
Who is that?
The government. I mean,
How can a
what, do
non-person
you want
own
me to
something?
pull out the nation state?
How can a non-person
I mean,
own something?
how can a non-person own it?
Yeah, only
Because we
people
elect
can own things.
because we elect representatives, and those representatives makes laws, and they can decide what they can do.
Again, that's not an answer to my question. How
That
can a
isn't-
non
no, that's a-
how can a
that is a perfect
non-person
answer to
how
it.
can a non-person own something? Only people can own things.
I just told you. I just told you.
So
we
a
elect those
So you're saying a
representatives.
non-person can own something?
People are in that government, so it's
So the people
not
who are
a
within the
non-entity.
government all collectively own your house?
Yes.
How could
I
two
would,
people
yeah.
how could two people own the same thing at the same time?
Again, I'm talking about the government itself has the right can own that land.
Yeah, but
they
two
own,
people
they,
can't own
they
the
either
same
own
thing
that
at the same
land
time. That's
or they
impossible.
loan the
That's a contradiction.
properties. Yeah. It's not a contradiction.
Yes, it is. Let's say, for
No, it's
instance,
not.
let's say me and you are on an island, and we both see a stick, and we say, hey, let's collectively own this stick. And then there's a dispute. Later on, there's a dispute over whether or not who should use this stick. I'm saying I want to use the stick, and you're saying I want to use the stick. Who has the right to use that stick? Me or you?
Whoever decides that they have to stick.
No, we both disagree. There's a dispute over the
Yeah,
stick.
whoever decides to have the stick.
Ownership is the right.
Whoever
Ownership is the right to control a scarce
whoever
resource.
whoever has a monopoly on violence.
So you believe in might makes right.
Yeah.
So if somebody has the might to rape somebody, does that make it right?
No.
Okay, so then you don't believe in might makes right.
No, I think might makes right, but we have laws in place.
Wait. You're making a specific claim. You're saying might makes right. So if you have the might to do something, therefore you have the right to do something. If you're saying I have might makes right and I have the might to rape somebody, you're saying that I have the right to do that.
I mean, yeah. But we ethically have systems in place to stop it, yeah.
Really? So if me and you are on an island, and like I would never do this because rape is wrong no matter what situation.
I'm not justifying rape.
You just did. Did you not?
No, I did not. I did not.
You said might. You just said.
I said we have ethical and moral systems that stop that.
But you just said might makes right, and if somebody has the might to rape somebody, then they have the right to do it.
Yes.
With provisions.
Yes, might makes right, but we also have provisions in place to stop that.
Okay, but what if there are no? What if me and you are on an island somewhere, and you decide, Sithis, I want to rape you. And I say no. I don't want you to rape me.
Why would I decide that in the first place?
I don't want you to rape me. And you're just adamant that you want to rape me. And you force yourself upon me. Does that give you the right to do that? Have you committed a violation of my rights? Because might makes right, right?
I wouldn't want to do that in the first place.
It's a hypothetical.
I wouldn't want to do it in the first place.
So you're avoiding the hypothetical. So you're avoiding the hypothetical.
I'm not avoiding it. I'm just saying.
So do you have the right or no?
I don't agree.
Do you have the right?
What?
Yes or no?
Do I have the right to do that? No, because there are ethical and moral systems.
Okay, so might doesn't make right. We both agree that might does not make right.
I said it can be, but I said that might makes right in cases, but also you have ethical and moral systems put in place to stop it.
So you either believe that might makes right,
or
you don't believe that might makes right. It's one or the other.
Because that's what you believe. I think it could be both at the same time.
It can't be both at the same time. It's either right or it's wrong. There's either right or it's wrong. Right or wrong. One or the other. There's no...
Because you're taking a literal interpretation of this. And I'm saying it could be... There's exceptions, and that's an exception.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that because you believe that might makes right, that your answer, of course, would have to be, if you were consistent on your ideology, that of course it would be right for you to rape me because might makes right.
I morally agree with that or ethically agree.
But then, again, so then you must drop your claim that might makes right.
No, I'm not going to drop it. No, I just said you can
then
have
you're not consistent in your
systems.
ideology.
No, that is consistent.
No, it's
That's
not.
allowing no, that is.
What does might make right mean?
What does that mean? Might makes right means the person who's the strongest has the right to overpower the other person or the ability to do whatever they want to. But
wait. Say that.
Hold on. I'm answering your question, but I also said at the same time there are exceptions through moral, ethical, and through law that stops that from happening. So while that it might makes right, there are also ways to stop it at the same time.
Are there laws on an island?
Both at the same time. Are there laws on an island? Well, we're not living in an island. We live in
no. Hypothetically,
we live in a civilized society. So I'm arguing no. I'm using
address the hypothetical. Address the hypothetical as given. Address the hypothetical as given. Address the hypothetical as given.
Why do we keep
address
using
the hypothetical as given?
Hold on. Why do we keep using hypothetical?
Address the hypothetical as given.
Warmish, do you wish not to address the hypothetical?
No, I'm not going to address it. No.
Okay. Warmish is declining.
I'm not going to address
it. That's fine. Like she could just say, I don't want to say that. I'm not going to do these hypothetical with this whole like, oh, I answered. Oh, I did that. Like, no, you didn't answer.
Because I did. Because I did.
Okay, so then address the hypothetical. Go ahead. As given.
I already answered though.
So remind me of your answer.
I just said
so
might makes right.
You have the right to rape me?
Hold on. I said might makes right, but there are also ethical.
So you do have the right to rape me.
And law. That is not the argument I'm making. That is.
What does might make right again? What does might make right mean?
That is not the fucking art. Holy fuck.
Do you believe it might make right or no? Yes or no?
Why does that have to be a clear yes or no?
Do you believe it's either you believe in it or you don't believe it?
Why Why can you not have exceptions?
If you were to ask me, Sithis, do you believe in the non-aggression principle? I would say, yes, I believe in the non-aggression principle. If you were to ask me, Sithis, do you think it's wrong to rape someone? I would say, yes, it's wrong to rape somebody. If you were to ask me, does might make right? I would say, no, might does not make right.
So
very easy, very understandable. And the reason why is because I have a moral compass. Now I'm trying to figure out where your moral compass lies.
So under your system with no state, you would fully allow rape, because under that system, under anarcho-capitalism, because it's anarchy, people could rape people just because they could. Is that what you're arguing for?
I believe
your system's anarcho-capitalism.
I'm not the one arguing for might makes right. You're the one that believes in might makes right. So I'm trying to argue against that. I'm trying to argue against the might makes right.
But under the system you're providing, under the system that you're providing, which is anarcho-capitalism, which is anarchy from a state, so complete fucking all over the place, or under, let's see, insurance companies. These insurance companies have the right, because, you know, they have private property, they have private money, they have all of that. They have the right to rape you because of their consensual laws and
that's what I believe. So you think I believe that? That's what I believe.
I would argue you do. Yes, I would argue you do.
No, that's not what I believe. No insurance company has the right to rape or use any other person's body without
why
the
do they
consent.
not?
And the reason why is because I believe that
So
I am the owner.
Do you
Let me know when I can
believe,
speak. Let me know when I can answer the question.
Okay, so based off that argument, do you ethically believe that someone could rape someone consensually?
There's no such thing as consensual rape. How could you consensually rape somebody?
CNC exists for a reason. I'm just trying to see where
I would like you to explain to me how you can consensually rape somebody.
I mean, I'm asking you.
You can't. It's impossible. So I don't believe in rape under any circumstance. Whereas you think it's okay to rape people if they're...
I did not say it was.
Because if might makes right, and somebody has the might to rape somebody, well, then they ought to have the right, right?
I just said from an ethical system, you could
So
stop
then you don't
rape.
believe in might makes right.
Why does it have to be one or another when you can
you
believe
either
in
believe
both
in might
things?
makes right or you don't believe in might makes right?
Because you have this very specific way of holding things down. You think it either has to be one way or the other. How about, because we live in a group of people, we live in a nation where you can believe in multiple systems and believe in exceptions.
If you don't believe in might makes right, just admit you don't believe in might makes right. It's good not to believe in might makes right. That's a good thing.
But I do, because I believe in the monopoly on violence that the government has.
Okay, but
but
might makes right. So basically, if the government is so basically what you're saying is you believe that might makes right because you want there to be a government. So if there was no government around and we're on an island, if you were consistent on your ideology, you would have to say that yes, somebody ought to have the right to rape somebody if they have the might to.
No, I do not, because the government.
So then you don't believe that. Then you don't believe that.
Are we trying to insinuate that the government rapes people on a daily basis?
Yeah, people from the government rape a lot of people all the time.
And how do they rape people on a day-to-day basis?
On their soldiers, they send soldiers to other countries, and then those soldiers rape people and murder people and commit genocide.
I mean, fair. I would agree with that. But other than that, do normal everyday governmental workers go out and rape people?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, then how?
We're not talking about specifically rape. We're talking about whether or not somebody else has the right to initiate an aggression against you. Rape is a form of an aggression. So the state violates your rights through other means, not simply just through rape. They do it through involuntarily taking your money through coercion and taxation. But the issue is but the issue fundamentally is whether or not somebody else ought to have the right to use your body without your consent when you have not initiated an aggression. But you've already answered the question. You do believe that people ought to have the right to.
If you're a part of that society, if you vote, you do taxes, you participate, you call 911 when you need to do them. When you participate in the society, yes, the government has the right to maybe kick you out of your land if you're not keeping up the zoning laws. Mm-hmm. They have the right to tax you because the money that we have comes from the government. It does not come from us.
So if you violate the government's laws and they want to send a soldier to your house to rape you, They have the right to do that.
No, that's not what I'm advocating. That's not what I'm
No, they have the right
advocating
because
for.
they have the mic.
No.
No, then
No,
you
because
don't-
we, no,
then
because
stop
we,
saying
no,
you
because
believe
we,
in might makes
no,
right because you
because-
don't.
No,
You don't
no,
believe in might makes right.
because we have law. No, because we have laws in place to stop
Okay,
that.
let's say the government, that was a law that made it so that every time you violate taxes, somebody comes to your house and rapes you. Would that make it okay?
No, it would not.
Okay, so you don't believe in
I
might
would
makes
disagree
right.
with that on a
You don't believe in might makes right.
God. You can believe in it, but also believe in exceptions. And I'm saying that there are exceptions in play.
There are no exceptions. It's either okay
Yes,
to
there
use
are
your body.
exceptions.
It's either okay
there
to
are.
use your body without your consent
So
when you have not initiated an
under which-
aggression, or it is not okay to do that. And
So,
the second
who's
that you
saying
say it is okay, then you open up the door for any other person to be like, yeah, actually, I could do this to you without your consent. I could do
so
this
who's
to you
saying
without
there's-
your consent.
So who's saying there's no exceptions?
It would not be logically consistent.
Who? No, but who? Who's saying there has no exceptions?
Well, I'm saying it, and the reason why I'm saying it is because it
And
would
I
be
don't give a
logically
fuck about your
inconsistent.
opinion,
Let me
and
know
I-
when
and
I
I
can.
don't give-
Let me know when I can
And I,
speak.
and I don't. And I don't give a shit about that. I'm trying to highlight you can have exceptions in play.
Am I allowed to speak now?
I mean, you are always able
Okay,
to
so
speak.
it's either you are allowed to violate other people's consent when they have not initiated an aggression, or you do not have to. It's about this is all about body ownership. It's either you have the right to exclude others from your body and the external resources in which you
Is
own,
taxation
or you do
rape?
not.
Is taxation rape?
It's not rape. It's theft. It's a form
not
of
theft.
aggression.
It is not theft.
Theft is the
It is not a
unconsensual
form of
taking of
aggression. It is
another
not a
person's
form
private
of
property.
aggression. No,
Is it
it's not.
consensual?
That property was never yours. The
Is it
money that we
consensual?
get does not come from. Yes, it is, because you agree through voting representatives that you're
I never
okay with that.
voted.
Not just. Well, okay, you never voted. I mean, if you have a big problem with that, you can either leave that society, vote to amend changes to that
Yeah.
society.
So if I don't like what's going on in my society, and so basically what you're saying is that if I live in a society, whatever that government does to me is consensual because I choose to stay within that country.
I mean, to an extent, it is consensual because you have the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. Yes.
So yeah. So was the Holocaust consensual?
Was the Holocaust consensual? No, of course not.
Yeah, but they could have left, right?
But why are you? But
They
why
could
are
have
you?
left,
But why?
right?
But
But they could have left, right?
No. Hold on. Why do you keep using the most extreme examples?
They could have left, right? Right?
No.
You just said.
No.
Let's rewind the tape.
No, we're not rewinding. I'm going to highlight the fact that you keep using the most violent, or either the most violent or the most outrageous.
Was the
examples
Holocaust consensual?
No, hold on. Of course not. Of course
Okay,
not.
so
But
then
you're using
simply because
you're
you live
using
in a
those-
country that doesn't give that country the right to violate your consent, simply because
Yes,
you
they
live in
do.
that. Okay, so then the
Yes, they
Holocaust
do.
was consensual because
you
those
agree
people
to
could have
those-
left.
Because you agree to those.
Could the
because
Jews
you
have
agree to
left?
those laws,
Could the Jews
you
have
use
left?
those- You use those services.
The Jews could have left, right?
I mean, they could. They could
Okay,
have.
so
but
then
it was wrong what happened to
by
them.
your standard, it was consensual.
It was not.
I know.
They
I
fucking
know it
genocided
wasn't.
a
I
bunch of
agree
Jews.
it wasn't
No, it's
consensual.
true.
And the reason why it wasn't consensual is because just because a state claims a land to be theirs, that does not give them the right to violate the property rights of the individuals who live within that land. I'm glad you agree with me on that point.
I disagree with that, though.
Okay, so
Land
it's
is
either the
not-
Holocaust was consensual or it was not.
That's why do you keep using the most outrageous examples as you can?
It's pretty.
Is it because when I bring up no, hold the fuck on. Since you keep bitching that you don't have a right to fucking speak or whatnot, I'm gonna just throw this example. If I use a zoning law, let's use a zoning law, something that uses in everyday fucking society. Are zoning laws rapeful? Do they cause consent laws?
Are zoning
are
laws
there any issues
rapeful?
with zoning laws?
I don't know. I don't think so. But they are theft.
So you don't think zoning laws are bad?
I said they are theft. I said they're not rape.
How are they theft? How are they theft?
Because they're claiming land that does not belong to them.
It is their land, though. It was never your land to begin with, because that nation has a claim to that land and you do not.
The only way
Plus,
in which you
plus,
can
I want to add that land. So where specifically? I'm going to ask, what region do you live in?
Florida.
So before the United States, it's actually Native Americans that own that land. So it's never your land to begin with.
Yeah. So I live in a house right now, right? And this land is apparently, my house is apparently stolen. Who should I give it back to?
Wait, what?
Who should I give it back to?
No, rewind your
My question
statement.
is, if my house is stolen and on stolen land,
I don't think
who should I give this land back to?
I don't think your house is stolen because you
No,
bought
let's
it.
say the land is here that I live on.
I'll give it back to the government.
So then how?
Yes.
The government owns the land?
Either the local municipality.
Did it get it through one of two ways? There's only two ways in which you can justly get land. Through voluntary transaction or mixing your land with the labor. Did the government get its land through voluntary transaction or mixing its land through the labor?
It depends on what part of Florida you're from.
Okay, so where
they might have bought it from a land.
Did they mix the land? Did the government mix its land with the labor, or bought it consensually, or use their own money in order to buy it, or did they take money from other people unconsensually and purchase that land?
They did not unconsensually take money from people. So again,
taxation is theft.
It depends on what part of it.
Taxation is theft. It's unconsensual. So I have no choice but to pay.
So I'm going to bring up a $100 bill.
Yes.
All right. Is this $100 bill mine?
It belongs to you.
Yes, I would agree, right? But is this $100 bill, where did it come from?
It came from the printing press. The government's printing press.
Thank you. You just made my argument for me.
Yeah, but I believe we should abolish the Federal Reserve.
Why?
Because the Federal Reserve is terrible. It steals our money through inflation, and yeah. Also, it creates the worst banking failures happened under the Federal Reserve. Before that, the banking failures weren't even nearly as bad as under the Federal Reserve.
I would argue the way that we have. What was it?
But regardless, either way, they're violating our property rights by not allowing us to use other currencies.
You can use other currencies. Bitcoin.
Yes, but you have to pay. But you have to pay the state's taxes in the United States currency.
I agree. Yes,
that's a violation of property. That's a violation of property. What if I don't want to use?
But the problem is
the state's money. You're forcing me to use a service in which I do not want to be a part of.
Cool. I mean, you could use
that's a violation of my consent.
That's not a violation of consent when the majority of the society
agrees. So forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do when they have not initiated an aggression is not violating another person's consent?
You agree to partake in those services.
I didn't agree.
What services? No. What services do you use, Sithis? You use internet. Where does internet come from? Internet comes from a service. Oh, it comes from a private company. Okay, and where do they get their funding from?
The people who buy the services.
What service? What service specifically?
The internet.
Okay, what company?
There are plenty of internet companies. RCN.
Yes. What type of company?
I mean, what point are you trying to make? What point are you trying to make?
You do realize that those companies have funding from the government?
Yeah, that should be abolished. No company should get any funding. Because no company deserves to take any money that was stolen from another person. That's a violation of property rights.
But it's not stolen.
It is stolen because it's taken unconsensually. Because it's taken unconsensually.
It's not taken It's not.
Do you have a choice?
Again, taxation. Yes, I did have a choice. I decided to pay my taxes.
I don't want to pay my taxes. I don't want to pay my taxes.
Good, go to jail.
For a company. Yeah, so it's unconsensual.
It is consensual.
You just told me that I'll go to jail if I don't pay my taxes.
Yeah. Which I agree with because under the social contract, we agreed to pay taxes. So yes.
So it's unconsensual.
It's not unconsensual.
I didn't sign a contract. I never signed a contract.
I mean, cool, but I also believe in the social format. So based off of all the extreme examples you use, is it okay for you to say the N-word?
Yeah, freedom of speech.
Yes, but
I own my vocal cords, so therefore you allow.
But does that allow freedom of consequence?
What do you, does another person allow? Does another person allow to initiate an aggression against you for using your voice box? Absolutely not.
Yes, I would argue yes. We in the First Amendment.
Yeah, so you believe it's okay to violate people's consent when they have not initiated an aggression.
So
Thank
the
you
problem
for.
I have with this. No, hold on. No, you're
You
gonna
believe it's okay to violate people's consent when they have not initiated an aggression.
Hold on. You're gonna let me finish. My problem with this argument that you're using is your libertarian stances come from the guy that is my PFP, which is Immanuel Kant, right? Because he's considered one of the main founders of libertarianism. And yes, he did disagree with certain principles. He believed majority of people should have the right to do anything they want to. But at the same time, he also believed not only in social contract, not only that we have a moral obligation to do what's right for the majority of people through Kantianism, but he also believed that some moral actions are morally reprehensible. And what I am saying is some of the things that you advocate for are morally reprehensible. Is consensual cannibalism good? Is consensual cannibalism good?
Like if you want to sell your, like when you die and you want to sell your body,
Yes.
dead body,
Is it
for
good?
someone else to eat it? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I disagree. I think it's morally reprehensible. I don't think everyone should be.
Wait, but you could sell your body. Hold on, you could sell your body to scientists, and they could do experiments on you, and stuff like that. So I don't see it being all that much of a step further for someone to eat your dead body.
Number one, cannibalism has some bad health effects, but number two, and most importantly, I don't think everyone should be.
It's my body. If I want to eat a dead body, that's my right.
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I believe that's
again,
morally
you think it's okay to violate people's consent when they have not violated other people's consent. I get it. If someone has the might to rape somebody, then they have that right because might makes right. You see, you would never give me a situation where I would tell you that rape is good. I would never tell you that.
I'm not advocating for that. I'm not advocating for that.
Well, you do. You said that might makes right.
I do not advocate for that.
You might makes right, right?
No, I do not.
Does might make right? Or
I
no?
do. Hold on. So if I keenly believe in exceptions and you just choose to ignore them, does
might
that
makes
show
right?
the level of maturity you have when it comes to debate, or does it
might
show
make
that
right?
you might be a little autistic when it comes to debating? Which one is it?
I mean, you could throw out all these terms all you want, but you're not answering the question. So that question is, does might make right? Does might make right? Does might make right?
I've already
does
answered
might
the
make
question
right?
before. I've already
does
answered
might
the question.
make right?
I've already answered the question.
Yes or no?
I've already answered the question.
Yes?
I've already answered it.
Yes or no?
I've already answered it.
Okay, that's fine. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why she doesn't want to answer the question is because she understands that if she says might makes right, then she would have no choice but to say, if she was consistent in her ideology, that if someone had the might to rape someone, they ought to have the right to. If she believes that if somebody simply because someone says something that is rude to another person, that other person has a right to violate the consent of that person when they have not initiated an aggression against another person, because in the end of the day, might makes right.
I think you choose to ignore other philosophical opinions, and you tend to believe that all of them disagree with your viewpoints, even though I've already used social contract theory and I've used Kantianism against this, but yet you're choosing to ignore that.
Okay, it's either you believe that might makes right or you don't believe that might makes right. It's one or the other.
You keep going to that same point when I've already said that might makes right with exceptions, and I've already
There is no exceptions. There is no exceptions. It's either might makes right or you don't believe that might makes right.
Why is there no exception?
Because the second that you say that might makes right, you basically open up the door for another person to be like, well, if I have the right to rape someone, I ought to have the right to do that. But it's just like, wait a minute, you have the might to makes right unless you do something that I don't like. Well, that's contradictory. It's either you have the might, you believe in might makes right, or you don't believe in might makes right. You can't have a contradictory ethic.
That is not contradictory.
It is contradictory. You either
you
can't say, I believe it's okay to might makes right unless you do something that I don't like. Well, it's just like, okay, well, then you don't believe in might makes right. You're going by something else.
Because I'm using a moral and ethical system to go against what you're saying. That's the point. You're only disagreeing with this because you're morally against it and you're ethically against it.
Yeah, I am against rape. Yes, I am against rape. Apparently you are not.
No, hold on, because you've spouted bullshit saying you would allow cannibalism. You don't believe in. Let's see.
And you believe in might makes right. What do you think is worse? Might makes right or allowing somebody to eat another person's dead body? Whose rights are being violated in that situation?
Cannibalism's worse.
Cannibalism's worse. So
cannibalism's worse.
allowing another person to rape another person because they have the might to rape them is not as bad as allowing a person to eat another person's dead body. Allowing another person to rape another person simply because they have the might to do so is not as bad as eating another person's dead body. Okay. Did you I know you heard what I said.
Oh, I know I heard. I just think it's a dumbass question. But go ahead.
It's either might makes right or you don't believe in might makes right. It's one or the other. It would be contradictory.
Again, that's a very autistic way of looking at thinking. I'm gonna be.
I mean,
you
could make fun of autistic people all you want. That's fine.
I'm not making fun of all. I'm not making fun of autism.
But it's in the end of the day. At the end of the day,
it.
it's you. I'm trying to hold you consistent to your values. Either believe.
I am being consistent here.
Okay, so does might make right or no?
Again, I've already answered this question.
I know you want to avoid the question because you don't actually believe in your ideology. You don't really believe in your own ideology.
So I'm gonna ask Zeus.
Yeah.
Have I answered the question?
I'm trying to stay neutral.
I'm not.
I mean, we can move to Q&A if that's fine. We can move to Q&A. I think we've gone over everything.
No, because you haven't.
Unless you have something else that you want to talk about.
We'll do this. I'll give you guys about 6 more minutes, and then we'll go to Q&A.
If you want, you have anything else?
You haven't argued against it.
I have. It's theft.
No, you've not.
I have. It's the unconsensual taking of another person's private property.
I mean, cool. I disagree with that.
Yeah, theft is the unconsensual taking of another person's private property. You could disagree with it all you want, but that's what it is.
No, it's not.
Then what is theft?
Theft is when you either steal something, right, or you take something from another person.
Yeah, what is stealing? What is stealing?
Under the system that we have, none of that's theft. Taxation's not theft because that money doesn't come. Hold on. The money that you get doesn't come from you. It comes from the government. And also the house that you live in.
Where did they get the money to make that money?
Hold on. You might have bought it, but that house was never yours. It was the local municipality's place.
Where did they get the money to buy that?
They got money from people.
Did those people consensually give it to them? Those people consensually gave them that money?
Yeah.
They said, "Yeah, here you go.
Yeah,
your government, please take my money. I want you to do this."
Yeah, because we agree with the tax rate, don't we? We vote.
No,
on
I
it.
don't agree with it.
I mean, Florida's done voting on that.
I don't agree with taxation. So you're saying that I need to vote?
You don't agree. I mean, you don't agree with that, but the majority
taxation
of people,
is theft.
It's not.
Because it's an unconsensual taking of another person's private property. If I do not, so what happens if I don't? What happens if I don't pay taxes?
You'll get a fine.
And if I don't pay that fine, what happens?
From the government, so
what
that
happens?
money is from you. It comes from the government.
What happens? What happens if I don't pay the fine?
Let's see. You'll either get another fine or you might go to prison. Depends on the system that you're in.
So can I choose? Like, if they say, "Hey, you got to go to prison," could I choose? No, I don't want to. I can say no.
I mean, you could always go through the judicial system if you want to.
And let's say the judicial says no, you got to go to jail. Could I opt out or no?
That was decided by a court of people. Are you going to disagree with the court of people?
Yep, I disagree with the court of people. I don't agree that the court of people. Yeah, because taxation is theft. So what happens to me? What happens to me? What happens to me? What happens to me when I don't agree with their judicial system?
Oh, you go to jail. I go
to jail. Okay, so am I am I consenting to that?
Yeah, you are.
How am I consenting? What if I say no? I don't want to.
You're part of the system.
What happens if I say I don't want to go?
You bought the house.
What if I say I don't want to go? I'm not going.
Oh, you're going to go there.
What if I say I'm not going?
Cool, you're going to go there.
Okay, so you're unconsensually forcing me to go there.
No, you're just using force to get you in there.
So I'm consent. You need force to when somebody consents.
Yes, you are consensually allowing that because again.
So then why would you need force? Then why would you need force if I'm consenting?
I want to. Hold on. You bought a house, right?
Am I
consenting? You bought a house, right?
Listen, the question is, am I consenting? Yes or no? Am I consenting? Do you need force to make someone consent?
Hold on. You bought a house, right?
Let's say I did.
Bought a house. Okay.
I bought it from another individual through a consensual transaction.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
and I don't
okay,
want to pay
that's
my
fine.
and I don't
And
want
where
to
did
pay
they
my
get- and where did
taxes.
they get- and
What
where did-
happens
and
to
where
me?
did they get-
What
and
happens
where
to
did
me
they
when I
get
don't pay
that-
taxes?
and where did they get-
What happens
no,
when I
hold
don't
on.
pay taxes?
Where did they get that house? Where did they get that house from?
I don't know. Not my problem.
You don't know where they came from. So you don't know that they come from a realtor group, which is licensed through a state. You
A
don't
state
know
can't
that?
own property. It's not a
A
person.
state does own property.
It can't own
It is a
property.
group of people. A government's a group of people.
A group of people can't own something.
Yes, they can.
Okay, again, so let's go back to the stick on an island. Let's say I'm on an island. Let's say I'm on an island, and me and you are on a. We have a stick, right?
Again, you're using
And
island.
we both own the stick. We both own the stick, and there's a dispute
Again,
over
you
that
keep using
stick.
the stick. Why
And
can you not? Why can you not go?
Because you're
Why
saying that
can you
we
not
could
go
collect.
stick or go with?
Address the hypothetical.
Because this is a
Address
circle
the
lapse in
hypothetical
logic.
as
Can you not
given.
use-
Address the
Can you
hypothetical
not?
as given.
Hold on,
Address
hold
the
on.
hypothetical as given.
I've already
Address
answered
the
that. I'm
hypothetical
going-
as given.
Are you not going to
Address
answer
the hypothetical
my
as
Are you
given.
not going to use my
Address the
hypothetical?
hypothetical. Address
Dude,
the
I've already
hypothetical.
answered your fucking
All right, guys,
hypothetical.
let's slow down. Let's slow down for a
Like,
second.
like you've already answered the. I've
Address
already
the
answered your
hypothetical.
fucking- I've already answered your fucking
Gentlemen,
hypotheticals.
gentlemen, let's just slow down. If this is if this
Why
is
will you
basically
use my
going to be the
hypothetical?
standing, yeah, this is what's kind of stuck, keeps it stuck. We can move on to another portion of the debate.
Yeah, because you keep. My
So-
problem here is you keep going to your hypothetical, but yet when I ever try and question your belief system, or I keep questioning you, you don't fucking answer it. So it either shows either A, you have a lapse in logic, or B, you generally don't understand how buying a house or owning a house or even the laws behind that. And that shows a lapse in logic in you because through buying a house or through using services, you are allowing yourself to be a part of that society and you're agreeing to the rules of that society. Why will you not go with my hypothetical here? What are you scared that it will show a lapse in your own logic, or
It's
or will it
impossible for
show how
for a group of people
it's
to own
impossible.
something. Yep, I can
It's
explain,
not-
and
it's not
I
impossible.
can demonstrate to you why it's impossible for a group of people to own things through my hypothetical that you refuse to address. And there's a reason why you refuse to address it is because you understand that there's a lapse in your judgment and your ideology.
no.
And if you answer
No.
the hypothetical, you understand that collective ownership is a contradiction.
It's not a contradiction.
It is a contradiction.
At all.
Two people.
How's it
Okay,
a
so then address the. Are
When-
you going to address the hypothetical then?
Again, I'm
Are you
gonna
willing
ask
to address the
why.
hypothetical?
You're not, dude.
Are you willing to address the hypothetical? Okay.
I've already answered your shit. So are you gonna
So
answer
can we
mine?
move to
or
this
are you gonna
Q&A?
confused?
Are we going to move to
Oh,
Q&A?
so you're being a bitch. So you're being a bitch. You're not
let's try
answering that.
to
You're
gentlemen,
being a
let's try to.
bitch.
So I actually did time it for about 7 minutes, like I
That's
said.
crazy.
Yeah, so let's try to keep it to the to Q&A as well, because I think people would be interested to see what you guys have to say. If anybody does have any questions, let's see if we can start. So give me just one moment because I'm not used to the Discord stages.
I can do it. I have event privileges.
Okay, awesome, great. Because I don't know how to use this
Okay,
thing on.
so I'll go in order. Tiffany, go first.
Right. Are you able to bring them up?
Yeah, I'll bring them up.
Okay. And if you don't want to speak in voice chat, I can just read off your question. That's fine. In chat.
I'm gonna disconnect them and let them rejoin. For Tiffany. Let's go with Dutch. I already know Dutch is gonna go on the insults. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, no. I was way too busy insulting someone else to worry myself about two retards fighting. I was just wondering who enforces the NAP?
We do. Individuals.
Yeah, okay, but what if once again, if you as an individual, you have that coconut on that beach, I just cave your head in. Who's gonna stop me?
Either I can or I can hire somebody else to stop you.
Okay.
Or I die. It's one.
Cool.
The issue isn't about whether or not someone can take something from you. I'm sure we can all agree someone can take something from you. We're arguing about whether someone ought have the right to do that. This is an ethical discussion. We all agree that might makes right in the sense that anyone could take something from. Well, I don't believe in might makes right. I believe that, and if somebody has the might to do something, they can't take it from you. That doesn't make it right. Where I disagree with is that it makes it right. That's a disagreement.
Cool, that's nice to know. That doesn't explain how the NAP will be enforced.
I just told you, by either you or someone who you can hire to pay.
Well, no, it doesn't, right? Right, but once again, if I offer them more money, they'll switch sides, then I'll take your stuff even more. Right? Like, it just seems, if there's no third party that can ensure that these principles that you all seem to give a shit about so much, these ethical ones, to actually be enforced and equally amongst everyone. It kind of seems just that at that point is might makes right? Because if I have more money, I'll just buy your mercenaries because I have the might and the right, and therefore the might and therefore the right to do so.
Again,
right? You don't see how that's a bit of a weird problem where you're like, well, I don't believe in might makes right, but as soon as you have more resources to afford more things, which indeed is more might, you therefore can enforce your right upon me, because I don't have to give a shit about the NAP.
Might makes right implies that you ought have the right to do that. I don't believe you ought have the right to do that. If you believe,
but hold up.
Okay, you're not allowing me to answer my. You're not. Is this a debate or is this a fucking Q&A?
No, that's correct.
It's a Q&A. So you either allow me to answer the question.
I'll just lower.
We're gonna.
Once again, I don't.
All right, so
please stop for a second. Wait, please stop.
Hold on.
Hold on. Dutch. Please, we have to be respectful.
I muted him, so
please, let's be respectful. So we're gonna let him respond. And if you want to respond, you can if you want to. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the question was, if someone has the might to take something from another person, what can you do about it? Well, obviously, in the real world, anyone can come up to you and take something from you and do horrible things from you. But again, we're not talking about whether or not somebody has the ability to do that. We're talking about whether or not someone ought have the right to do that. I don't believe in might makes right. I don't believe simply because you have the might to do something, that you have the right to do that thing. If you believe that might makes right, well then and you were consistent in an ideology, you would have no choice but to say, if somebody has the might to rape somebody, then they ought have the right to. But you guys aren't actually willing or have the backbone to actually follow your ideology to its fullest extent. So you guys just sit here and complain and call me autistic and make stupid arguments against me.
I am sorry.
I mean, well, hold up. Let's start with the fact that you guys is weird because I don't believe might makes right. Let's start with that. However, it's clear to everyone here present that it is clear that ANCAPs just believe in might makes right. They just do the same thing as certain religions do, etc. Where, well, technically we don't believe in it because I don't think they should do that. No one thinks they should. The problem is by the simple statement that you will allow the people with more resources that indirectly has more might than you to therefore outdo you, outpay your mercenaries to make them switch sides, to enforce that. Because sure, they might not, just because you say they ought not to do something, that doesn't mean that they will actually have to give a shit about it. If you can make that simple connection, I hate to say it, there's a reason when people make fun of ANCAPs. It's because their ideology literally supports all the things they hate, right? I don't think people should do those things. No one thinks so. But once again, they can and they will. And who's going to stop them? Well, no one. Because if they have more might than you, they are justified in doing so. Why?
Yeah, well, so if someone has the might to rape someone, they're right. If someone has the might to rape somebody, they have the right, right? If somebody has the might to rape someone, they have the right, right?
Really funny how that works.
So if someone has the might to rape somebody, they have the right, right?
Funny how you don't allow the people to make
But please, allow him to finish, and you can ask your question. No problem.
It's a great irony.
Go ahead, Dutch.
Irony is fucking. I can taste it in the air. Once again, that will be my last statement anyway, right? I'll leave the floor to Tiff because they were first. I'm just saying, right? Like, you believe in might is right. You just don't think you do, because the only thing that is quote unquote like preventing you from not believing it, or this quote unquote thing, or others not doing it, is literally you just sitting back as a crybaby, just hoping that they actually don't, because they quote unquote consented not to be aggressive. Which is, I hate to say it, is the reason why people make fun of ANCAPs, because it is a self-defeating ideology that has no basis on anything. And there's a reason why every time it has been tried in any form, it's always turned out to be an abject failure. But I'll make room for Tiff to.
So we're gonna let.
So are these people gonna ask questions, or is this gonna be like a whole monologue debate? with all these
Yeah,
individuals.
I'll try to keep them more brief. Go ahead.
I mean, if you can't win or argue, then that's not my fault.
All right,
Yeah,
so,
you believe that rape is right. All right, gotcha.
That's literally the opposite.
but fascist, could you go down so we can bring other people up soon?
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, go ahead, King.
Yeah, again, if might makes right, which these guys keep saying might makes right, might makes right. Well, it's like, okay, if might makes right, then you believe that if someone has a might to rape someone, and then they ought to have the right. Again, I'm going to explain this for the last time. I don't believe that. I don't believe if someone has a might to rape someone that they have the right to do so. I believe that when someone rapes someone, they are violating the property right of the individual whom they are raping. And there is no situation in which you can give me in which I would ever justify somebody doing that. So if you believe that might makes right, then you would have no choice but to say that, yes, if someone has the might to rape someone, then they have the right. But I don't believe they have the right. Simple as that.
I'm going to bring Tiffany up.
All right, Tiffany, you will get your Q&A.
Leave it a question. Keep it a question.
Yeah, let's try to keep this a little bit briefer.
I do want to highlight. Sorry, Sithis, if I was being mean to you, man.
I don't mind. I that's fine. I mean,
people get passionate.
It tells more about you than it does me. So.
All right, are they able to join? I don't know if it's again because I don't know how to use this thing on mobile. So. If Tiffany, if you were not able to join, you can just type whatever. I'll try my best to read it off in context if you're not able to join the call. Hello, Tiffany, can you type in chat for us?
I'm gonna let them DM me.
Okay, what's your question, Tiffany? Yo, thank you guys so much for the support, man. For watching me on this debate. I really appreciate you guys. Anarcho-capitalism. I hope I represented anarcho-capitalism in a good way, guys. All right, I don't got all fucking day, so the question is, does a bank have right to kick you out of your house if you don't pay bills? Since the house is a part of the real estate connected to the bank, you have signed a contract to pay your bills, and if you don't pay the bills, the bank goes right back to your house. Yes, that is true. So if the bank is the owner of your house and they're selling you that house, it comes with the contract. Contracts are just transfers of title to property. So the bank is the owner. They transfer the title of ownership with the stipulation that you pay the mortgage. If you refuse to pay the mortgage, then you are basically violating the property right. You are violating the conditions of the contract, and then the title of that house would go back to the bank. And if you refuse to give it back, then you are violating the bank's property right, or the owner of the bank. So yeah. Yeah, you're good. Is that the last question?
Wait, that does argue might is right. Holy fuck.
Did they answer your question? All right. Who else had a question?
One more person. Oh, there it is.
Yo, what's up? So I wrote it out because it's kind of long. So here we go. In the absence of the state and of absence of tax, in the absence of the state and of absence of taxation, how does an anarchist capitalist system, which is an inherently competitive system, address the needs of the non-competitive, such as the disabled and, to a lesser extent, the elderly? Without the systems in place to financially, medically support them, how can they expect to be able to live?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, the thing is, there's nothing necessarily wrong with the idea of helping other people, which is like the idea behind welfare. The issue with welfare is that is how they're getting their money. They're doing it through unconsensual means. So and Capistan would address that is through voluntary charities or mutual aid foundations, insurance companies, and many other free market ways in order to deal with those issues.
Yes, however, the free market has proven to be inadequate in addressing these means thus far, according to most disabled people.
Well, the issue is that there's not a lot of free market ways to address these issues is because they've been completely clouded out by welfare programs and things like that. A lot of when you get rid of the welfare programs and there is a need or a demand for the services such as taking care of those people, there will be some private company that will take up the mantle and make profit off of that venture. Because there is a need for taking care of people who are disabled. There is a need for people taking care of those who are unable to take care of themselves. So if there's a need, then there's a way to make a profit from it.
Okay, well, I don't agree with you, but I'm not here to debate, so
Yep,
thanks for your answer.
Good question.
Right. I appreciate it. If anybody has any more questions, feel free to type it inside chat. But for now, I'll
Tabby
say
has
this.
a question, it seems.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right. Well, I'm done. It was nice debating. Sorry if I got a little heated, but
I have
nice
that effect on people. It's all right.
Let me close with this. So King, your YouTube channel, it's on your name, correct?
Yep, KingSithis on YouTube. Well, just KingSithis, and I am on YouTube, and I'm live streaming right now.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on the server. And we'll, address more questions that people have in chat. Because we're not fully done yet, but just to kind of get the full idea, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Warmish, for participating, gentlemen. Thank both of you guys for setting time on this day to have people be able to hear both of your ideas being challenged. It's very rare. People don't like debating, and I think it should be more normalized. But Warmish, I'm gonna let you go. And
all right. Well, before I go, it was nice debating you, Sithis. Sorry if it got heated, but glad we had it. I'll talk to you later, whenever.
Yep, have a good one. I had fun.
I'm heading out. I did too. Bye.
All right. If there are aid foundations in this NAP society, what happens to those who not could reach financial aids because no one is donating to them or willing to work? Well, fundamentally, nobody owes you. Nobody owes you protection. Nobody owes you aid. If you want aid, you gotta get it from somebody who is willing to give it to you. If you don't, then you're basically saying that somebody else ought to have the right to take care of somebody whom they don't want to take care of. So, if you're unable to take care of yourself, well then you just have to, as they say, be left to your own fate. But I don't think that's gonna happen because I believe that most people, I would predict that generally that's not gonna happen, and the reason why I would predict that's not gonna happen is because most people care about people who are disabled. Most people don't want disabled people to die, so I'm sure there will be free market alternatives to taking care of those people. And also, if you want a really good book on, how the free market has taken care of people with the welfare, without the welfare state, I should say, there's a really good book called From Mutual Aid to the Welfare State, Fractional Societies and Social Services by David Beito. That is a really, really good book that goes deep into that. All right, I think that's the last question, so it was fun.
All right, take care, guys. All right, peace out. Enjoy your weekend.
Well, I gotta... All right, that was really, really fun. I hope you guys had fun. Yeah, that was a really great debate. I had a great time. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I felt like I felt like I did pretty good. I hope I represented ANCAP really well, but I guess it is what it is. Have a good night, guys. See you later, Paxab. See you later, Danny Lowe. See you later, Maurice. It was good hanging out.